In the last tutorial, you saw how easy it was for us to change the text of the string here, of that box, using the pre-up method. But we're going to do one little thing to change this around just a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the hello world so that I only have one argument for the first button here. And we have two arguments for the second button. So let's go ahead and test this and see what happens. Now when I try and run it, you'll even see it says argument count mismatch on that particular one. Let's see, change text function expected to got 1. And it tells me basically what's happening here is that this right now only has one argument for this function, but this function requires two arguments. Well, we're going to change that just slightly because we're going to give one of these arguments a default value so that it only needs one string that's sent, or one variable that's sent, and that is the button to click on, and the string will be an optional property. In order to do this, all we need to do is create a default for the existing variable here. So my_mess :string equals, and we'll do hello. Or what we could do is put in default. That's not a bad idea as well. So that way we know that there is now a default value for that string. Now we won't get an error when we run this function because the first one is required because that's the object that we're clicking on, but the second one is it's an optional one because it's already given a value when we create the original function. So now you'll see that we get default, or we can actually output the real text. So notice that we don't get any sort of error this time. So that's a really nice thing to be aware of. I'd like you to go ahead and change that, of course, in your code, and then go ahead and apply other text for the last two buttons here. Now, in the last part of your tutorials, I think you'll be able to do the rest of it yourself, but I do want to point out just a little bit of what you need. So in the first one here, you're going to have you're going to have to give it instance names rather. And if I look inside of there, you'll see that it has 1, 2, and 3, which are 3 different sections. So using pre-up, I'd like you to have the buttons 1, 2, and 3 make that particular movie clip go to and stop to that particular frame label, 1, 2, or 3. And in that case, you'll need a button that is a variable, as well as what frame label, which is a variable. And that frame label can be a string, and you'll say go to and stop my label, and in whatever string that you put in there, it'll go to. For these over here, you have a box that you're going to be rotating, and so what you want to do is pass what rotation number to rotate to. So in this case, what you'll do is instead of a string or an object, you'll have an object for the button, but for this one, you'll have a number or an integer that is the type of variable. With this last one here, you'll notice that you have 2 buttons and then 1 object. Well, in this case, you're going to have 3 different variables that's a part of that main function. One for the play button, one for the stop button, and then one for the movie clip that's being controlled. So just be aware that you do have a couple more objects to work with, and it seems like I might have accidentally locked them, so you might need to unlock that layer too. And then if you have any questions about how to make the pre-up method work with all 3 objects, let me know. But you'll have, instead of only 1 function and 1 event listener inside the main function, you'll have 2 functions and 2 event listeners, because that way you'll need a function and event listener pair for both the play and stop buttons. So just be aware of that when you create that that particular function. And I guess that's it for the pre-up method. We'll be using this method later on in the semester for a lot of different things. So it's a great technique to create reusable and flexible code that also uses encapsulation of object-oriented programming. So if you have questions, let me know. Save your work.